Welcome to the Normandy, Professor. It's an honor to have you on board.
Yes, very exciting. Cerberus working with aliens. Unexpected. Elusive man branching out, maybe? Not so human-centric.
Do you know the elusive man?
You're very well informed.
Solarian government well-connected espionage experts had top-level clearance once, retired now. Still, hear things. Informed of name only, no knowledge of man behind it. Anti-alien reputation listed as problematic.
Yeah, not convinced that anything has changed in that regard.
Don't kid yourself, Professor. Humans still come first in the elusive man's eyes. But this mission is too big for them to handle alone.
The Collectors are abducting human colonists out on the fringes of terminus space.
Not simple abductions. Wouldn't need me for simple.
Entire colonies disappear without a trace. No distress signals are sent out. There are no signs of any kind of attack. There's virtually no evidence that anything unusual happened at all. Except that every man, woman, and child is gone.
Gas, maybe? No, spreads too slow. Airborne
You don't
virus.
have to sit there and guess. We collected samples from one of the colonies. I'd like you to analyze them and figure out how the Collectors did this.
Yes, of course. Analyze the samples. Going to need a lab.
There's a fully equipped lab on the combat deck, Professor Solis. If you find anything lacking, please place a requisition order.
Who's that? Pilot? No. Synthesized voice. Simulated emotional inflections. Could it be? No. Maybe. Have to ask. Is that an AI?
He's quick. He's quick. What's up, Runner? How's it going? We are doing some Mass Effect 2 here, and we just recruited the Professor, Morden Solis. So, yes, he's very quick to pick that up, and of course, remember, AI technically illegal, so, you know what, we're kind of trying to keep that part on the down low here.
This ship is equipped with an artificial intelligence.
An AI on board. Non-human crew members. Cerberus more desperate than I thought.
The Collectors have taken tens of thousands of colonists. We'll do whatever we have to do to find and stop them.
Yes, of course. Can't risk being captured like colonists need to identify, neutralize technology, need samples. Which way to the lab?
Follow me, Professor.
So there we have it. We also interrupted him there with a Paragon interrupt when he was blabbering on about potential ways to find a solution, and here we're just getting the other results of the various things that we acquired from that previous mission. And we actually, actually what this is we'll check this out in just a second here. Getting a bunch of things showing up. The reason for that is because we are actually already in the lab, which was previously a place where, when we tried to approach from this angle, we had a red marker here that was saying that this area was inaccessible, and that is because the way that the sections of the Normandy work in Mass Effect 2 is basically there are certain sections, certain rooms of the ship that are more or less reserved for a specific crew member. In this case, Morton is the person who occupies the lab, and so you can't access those areas until you recruit those teammates. And one of the reasons why acquiring Morton was a high priority was because there are some special things we can do in the lab. You may remember some other rooms, like Jacob's room, which is what, the armory, I think is what it's called. That has the ability for us to mess with our weapons over here. So there's some bonuses, some things we can do here, like just load up our weapons and what have you. But it is particularly important to recruit Morton quickly so that you can get access to the lab, because once you do get access to the lab, let's maybe investigate it first. Actually, hold on. Okay, I suppose those are two similar things here, but why don't we get Edie's overview of this area of the ship?
What's this area of the ship?
This is the Normandy's technical lab, where you can investigate new research upgrades that will improve ship or team performance. All upgrades can be developed in the Normandy's lab, provided you have acquired the necessary resources. You can find these resources by scanning planets or searching while on missions.
So, you may have noticed that we acquired several of various different types of upgrades when we were looking at various things we looted along our way on missions. And as I was just saying recently, although we are basically getting sort of like the blueprints or the schematics for those upgrades, we technically have not yet fully acquired them. We still need to spend the resources or credits to actually realize those upgrades, and we can't do that until you unlock the lab. And so there are a bunch of upgrades you can get. Can't get those upgrades until you get the lab. Can't get the lab until you get Morden. Hence why it is important to get Morden early. Because now we can take a look at our research terminal and our upgrade spots here to see we can do things like, we can get an overview of research. Research new upgrades to dramatically improve the power of your squad members, weapons, and ship. Discover research projects by acquiring new upgrades. For example, if you find an assault rifle upgrade, your scientists can study it, and they may discover a research project to further improve assault rifles. When you purchase a project, you must pay the specified amount of rare resources. You then gain the upgrade described in the research project, and the upgrade moves to the upgrade section of the research terminal. So, in that case, I suppose what that means is, obviously, we see some research options here. We see some upgrade options here. And I think all the ones we have, upgrades are basically the ones that you have already acquired, whereas research are ones that you can get but have not yet purchased. Ones that we do have here for upgrades are things that we purchased directly from shops. So these are the ones that we picked up on the shops on Omega. And so those ones, in that case, instead of purchasing with resources on the ship here, you're buying them directly from the shop with credits. So, you don't need to purchase them twice, thankfully. So we do already have some additional health, heavy weapon ammo, and shotgun damage. But if we take a quick look, I suppose we can get the overview of upgrades as well. Upgrades improve your squad members' powers, weapons, and your ship, making mission success more likely. Acquire more or new upgrades by finding them on missions, purchasing them from stores, or researching them using a research terminal. So, this is one of the reasons why we wanted to get to Morden quickly, so that we can say, weapon upgrades are modular technological improvements integrated into any weapon. When a weapon upgrade is obtained, it automatically integrated into the appropriate weapon. Obtain weapons upgrades in stores by scanning them on missions. So, we have the ability to purchase an assault rifle damage upgrade, which will give us the 10% increase assault rifle damage. I think we were just talking about this. We picked it up in our previous mission. We do not currently use assault rifles, nor do, I think, any of our squad mates right now, other than Zaid, who we have recruited but never actually used thus far. So, maybe not the highest of priority, and you'll see here in the bottom right corner, it costs iridium, which is one of the resources, other than credits, that we've acquired. At times, from just exploring on our missions, doing some looting, but also something we can do when we're scanning planets, which we looked at briefly, but haven't actually done just yet. We were just looking at it. So we can spend iridium to make this purchase, and we do have enough iridium to do that. However, like I was saying, maybe not the highest priority at the moment, because we don't really have much in the way of people who are using assault rifles. Also, the shotgun shield piercing upgrade requires one more shotgun damage upgrade to unlock, though. So that's an interesting one. We need to get some upgrades before this technically becomes usable. Also, it requires more platinum to complete this upgrade than we currently have. So definitely something that we'll want to pick up because we are definitely a shotgun user ourselves. So it requires some more shotgun damage upgrade to unlock, and does require 3,000 more platinum. That's not a ton, so that should be fairly easy to acquire that, but we definitely need to get that shotgun damage upgrade first. So increases damage by 50% against shields and biotic barriers. That is humongous. Humongous. And remember, we cannot use special biotic abilities when our opponents have armor, shields, or barriers. Only once we get rid of them can we hit them with all of our assortment of powers. There are some that work when they still have that additional layer of armor or protection, but our options are significantly limited there. So getting rid of those quickly and efficiently is definitely high priority. So getting a lot of extra damage from our shotgun to do that is huge. And with the addition of a FASIC module to the Mass Effect field generator, each slug is encased with a FASIC envelope before it is fired at a target. This disrupts any Mass Effect field protecting the target, resulting in superior penetration. So yeah, that is definitely, basically as soon as we can get that one, we're definitely going to want to do it. So we don't have too many options yet for upgrades, but this is definitely, or at least I suppose that was specifically for weapons. We can also upgrade our metagel capacity, and I think that is definitely something we're going to want to do as well. We've deliberately been trying to hold back a little bit at times, because if we are already at our metagel cap, and we get an additional source of metagel, then we get a small sum of credits, which, do it once or twice doesn't really mean much, but do it a few times and it'll start to add up a bit. So, we're trying to do that when and where we can, but just generally, when in need of metagel, it's certainly helpful. So, all modern combat armor incorporates a first aid interface. Microprocessors in this interface monitor vital functions, and release small localized doses of metagel to accelerate the healing process. Manually timed heavy doses of metagel can be released in response to major trauma. However, the efficiency of this is dependent on proprietary medical software that cannot be copied and is prohibitively expensive. Cerberus has developed its own software and is actively working to improve its efficiency. So yeah, this one does require platinum, and as we were just saying, platinum is something we'd like to try to get more of, so we can make that shotgun armor or shield piercing upgrade soon, although we can't even do that even if we had enough platinum, because we still need that shotgun damage upgrade first. So I think we do go for this. That'll definitely help. So that was an armor upgrade. Do we have anything else here? The trauma module. Oh, okay, well this one also costs platinum, but it is, it would have been more than we had even before we made that previous upgrade. So in this case, Unity, which is basically our ability that uses the metagel and revives fallen squad mates, heals our entire squad to full health. That is also nice. Again, ideally, you don't have to use it too often, but when you do, you'd like for it to do a lot of healing. So a standard first aid interface can stabilize a badly wounded soldier, preventing death from all but the most serious wounds. Base technology, however, is ineffective on conscious soldiers who are currently taking fire, as each pain signal resets the process. The trauma module separates the metagel administration into two layers, active and passive. The active layer constantly distributes small amounts of the metagel to fresh wound sites. The passive layer handles major deployments to incapacitating wounds. When large amounts of metagel are deployed to incapacitate squad members, fighting members are also healed. So that is, again, also certainly something we'd like to do soon. Then we have prototypes. Although prototype technology is advanced and powerful, it is also extremely expensive to produce, and often unstable when used. That's an encouraging description. Thanks to Cerberus's advanced science facilities and the genius of Dr. Morton Solus, you have one of the few facilities in the world capable of producing these technologies. Each technology you produce will be powerful, but will upgrade only a single member of your squad. Discover prototype technology by scanning advanced technology on missions and discussing research with your squad members. So let's see what we have here in that case. We have Cerberus Assault Armor. Cerberus Assault Armor is designed for shock troops, who are expected to turn the tide of battle against creatures or forces that would decimate normal soldiers. Troops demanded three things in its design: shields and armor thick enough to last against a superior foe, and a rechargeable pack to extend a heavy weapon power cell. The only drawback of this armor is its weight, which the troops carry as a point of pride. They have a saying, out of shape going in shape coming out. So it increases heavy weapon ammo capacity, and heavy weapon ammo, remember, significantly harder to get than normal ammo, so that is certainly a limited supply. So getting an additional 10% may not sound like much, but that does help, and increasing shields and health by 10% also certainly helpful for survivability. So that is an interesting one. It costs I actually don't know how you pronounce it. It was in Mass Effect 1 as well, but I've never looked it up to confirm. Palladium? I'm not sure. But we do have enough of that, so we could make that upgrade if we wanted to. We also have the Collector Assault Rifle, which is, again, an assault rifle which at the moment is not super relevant for us because we don't have many people who are using assault rifles, but the Collector's main weapon uses the same principles as a human assault rifle, but its organic components clearly set it apart. Its power source seems to be an internal organ with biotic capacitance. Its ammunition resembles pellets of metallic enamel that strip shields off enemies with deadly efficiency. Yeah, that's kind of creepy. It does look a lot like, almost like a shark with its teeth. But, yeah, it has organic components. That's a little odd. Then we have Collector Chitin Armor. Cerberus adapted this suit for you out of salvaged Collector technology. Collector's chitinous armor is flexible and even tougher than ballistic fibers. Its organic construction allows it to be self-healing, and the muscle-like tissue that assists movement ensures it is comfortable to wear despite its weight. This gives regeneration bonus, plus 10%, storm speed, which is basically our sprint, plus 10%, and then another 20% health. So, let's see, how does that compare in terms of price relative to the Cerberus Assault Armor here? So it's a question of shields and health versus more health, some speed, and some health regeneration. So it's certainly good for survivability. Then heavy weapon ammo, I believe we've purchased one of these already, and then this one we must have gotten the technology from finding it out in the wild, but we still need to research it in full to actually gain this knowledge. this upgrade. So the power cell technology used by heavy weapons is fairly old, but can be improved by rebuilding the core with more modern components. These improvements allow standard power cells to yield more shots per power cell and allow for more total shots to be fired. And Iridium, I mean, it's relatively low price, so fortunately that's fairly feasible. Then we have Inferno Armor. Built specifically for Cerberus field officers, the Inferno Armor has a VI dedicated to recognizing signs of stress and medical trauma. This application helps assess soldiers, but can be useful in any high-risk situations. The Inferno's microframe computer also manages biotic amp and omni-tool power, and micro servos help the wearer's movement to counteract the armor's weight. So we get negotiation bonus plus 10%. So for any charm, or technically I guess in Mass Effect 2 it's not really charm or intimidate. Maybe it's still technically called charm and intimidate, but you know, the Paragon Renegade checks. So 10% bonus for those. Though we've been pretty aggressive with focusing on that stuff thus far, so I don't really think that's all that necessary. Tech biotic power damage. That is nice. 10% for that. That'd be, at least in our case, affecting mostly our charge, which we've started to use a little bit more. And then storm speed, again, our sprint, 10%. And if you're wondering, where's all this stuff coming from? Lids, I don't remember you purchasing it. The answer is that I think in many cases, this is actually might be gear that is coming from what was originally DLC for the original Mass Effect 2 game, but then with Legendary Edition, almost all, if not maybe all, DLC has been rolled up into Mass Effect Legendary Edition. So that is why suddenly we have all these bits of upgrades and research that you may not recognize. You're wondering where we picked up, and I think that is probably the answer. Then we have the Lieber Shaft. 2080 shotgun, or Eviscerator, is of human civilian design and has a unique ammunition generator. For most modern firearms shave off chips or pellets from an ammunition block, the M22 shaves off serrated metal wedges designed to fly aerodynamically. This dramatically improves its armor-piercing capabilities, and its tight grouping helps wound ballistics at longer ranges than standard shotguns, so longer-range shotgun. This design also violates several intergalactic weapons treaties, so the M22 is not distributed to militaries. Okay. It's also, it seems like several of these things here are fairly inexpensive, so we could pick this up. Of course, again, we are using shotguns pretty regularly, but we made a point of picking up that Geth plasma shotgun early because that may very well be our shotgun that we use for most, potentially all, of the game. Then we have the ML-77 missile launcher. That sounds cool. Rapid fire missile launcher. Alright, you have my attention. With seeking projectiles. Effective against armor, shields, and biotic barriers. Missile launchers are surfacing with increasing frequency among the Terminus System's mercenary bands. We have started to fight several enemies that have them, but their origin is unknown. Each projectile features a friend or foe recognition system, ensuring it will find a hostile target, though not necessarily the one in the crosshairs. In urban situations, it is useful for taking out snipers and other entrenched enemies, so it is popular with the Blue Sun's mercenary band. It is nearly impossible to duplicate, as it uses Fabrication Rights Management, FRM, technology. Okay, so that's also something we can theoretically research, and I think that's everything in terms of our options here. And we did what? I think we made one of those upgrades for the Metagel, increased Metagel capacity. Was there anything else that seemed like it was something that we very much wanted to throw on right off the bat? I mean, heavy weapon ammo is pretty cheap, and it's universally something that we, it's going to be helpful on all missions. Whether we use it or save it is another question, but there are other things where, like, I'm assuming this is a heavy weapon that we may be, heavy weapon that we may opt to use. We may opt to use a different weapon. If we opt to use a different weapon, then we don't really need this right now. We might be better served saving the resources. Likewise with the Eviscerator. We already have the Geth Plasma Shotgun. We've had pretty good success with that, even though it's eating through our ammo like crazy. So, maybe we're fine with that. Our armor, you could definitely make the case for swapping that out. We do have several options there, and I'm not entirely sure what our preference is on that front. In fact, we might have thought we purchased some armor recently that looked quite good, so we might want to try taking a closer look at that. That might be the best way to go forward here. Let's go with the heavy weapon ammo, though. I think that's a pretty safe bet here. And it actually unlocks additional upgrades, as you just saw, or additional research. As we were seeing previously, that there are some things that only become available once we have made other types of upgrades. So in this case, we now can research the M622 Avalanche, which does require more iridium, which I think is the resource that we just spent. So, of course, we're relatively light on the resources because it's still early days in that sense. And cryo-round technology is used to modify standard weapon slugs. Cooling laser collapses the ammunition into Bose-Einstein condensate, a mass of supercooled subatomic particles capable of snap-freezing impacted objects. That sounds pretty sweet. This is another heavy weapon, so of course this is something that we're not going to be able to use. Not going to be able to use all the time, but with our limited ammo for heavy weapons, it could be a very valuable tool for us. Normandy scientists have found a way to apply this technology on a large scale. By generating a mass effect containment bubble, this proof-of-concept large weapon technology is effective against armor, shields, and biotic barriers. It is nicknamed the Cryoblaster, not to be confused with the ability that I believe is also referred to as Cryoblast. But I think that's good for now when it comes to our upgrades here. And of course, we'll keep an eye out for other upgrades in the future that we might be interested in acquiring. Take a look around the lab here, see if there's anything else of particular interest to us. So we gotta look down at the, what did we say? The core? I think we guessed at least that was technically the core. But we can also chat with Morden, who's of course the scientist, the professor that we just got to join our team.
How can I help?
So, let's see. What can we learn more about here? About the lab setup.
Is the lab working well for you?
Quite satisfactory. Found a few surveillance bugs. Destroyed most of them. Returned expensive one to Miranda. Nothing unexpected. Just need more samples. More collector data, tissue samples, anything you can get, I can use. Find new tech.
He's like, yeah, so I realized that Cerberus was trying to spy on me, so I took out all those spy bugs. Except for that one really expensive one. I gave that one back to Miranda because I felt guilty. Okay, then. Okay. What can you tell us about the status of the squad as a whole?
Are there any medical concerns I should be aware of on the team?
Cerberus personnel in excellent condition. No squad concerns to report. Always some matters, but nothing affecting immediate mission.
Okay. Not entirely sure what those some matters might mean, but I suppose we can also talk about upgrades.
Any ideas on other ways to prepare for the collectors?
Ideas, yes. Expensive, but possibly valuable. Can show you.
So, it seems as though this is just another way to open up this screen here, but also, I thought our prototype was just 9 before. Yeah, we do have a new one. So, when we're chatting with our teammates, we can occasionally find additional things that we can research and upgrade. So in this case is Morden's Omni Tool, quad member upgrade, so it is specifically for Morden. Gives Morden a 20% tech power damage upgrade. Morden built his own Omni Tool and can make significant upgrades given the proper materials. Cost Ezo, which I think is generally the most limited of all the various resources that we can collect. So that's going to be something that we're going to want to be fairly mindful of when, where we are spending that. But it could, of course, be helpful for powering up Morden here. So that is another option to add to the list. And I think that was it. We just got that in.
Upgrades seem feasible. Can install them whenever you like.
Okay. Then we can also, I suppose, try to talk specifically about Morden and how he's doing.
Have you got a minute to talk?
Of course. Plague on Omega dealt with. Plenty of time to analyze collector intelligence. Impressive laboratory setup. Missed working for operations with a budget. AI in particular. Very helpful. Best setup I've seen since work with Special Tasks Group.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Special Tasks Group, again, being the Solarian organization that he worked with previously, the STG, which is almost like the Solarian-specific version of the Spectres, the group that, or the, I guess you could call it group, that we worked for in Mass Effect 1. So, yeah, and we did rescue his assistant when we were back on Omega. What was his name? Daniel, I think? Any word from him?
Is your assistant Daniel settling in all right?
Quite well. Safe and secure. Neighborhood
I left
mostly
him with
quiet.
the clinic.
Plague gone. Left him the security mechs just in case. Can't be too careful. Also tired of mechs. Noisy. Never used them in STG.
Okay. Oh, I suppose we can get more about Special Tasks Group. That group we were just talking about.
You said you were in the Special Tasks Group. What kind of research were you doing?
Not simply research. Several recon missions. Covert, high risk, served under young captain named Kirihi. Studied
We know
Krogan
Captain
genophage,
Kirihi.
Took water, tissue samples from Krogan colonies.
Yeah. We met Kirby in Mass Effect 1 on Vermeer. He was, in case you have forgotten, the Hold the Line Solarian, the guy who was, running the... We Shadow Squad, or was he Shadow Squad? I forget. One of us was Shadow Squad, but he was the one that was distracting Saren's forces at the front of the base while we snuck around back. That means we were probably Shadow Squad. And snuck in to, well, take out his facility.
I worked with an STG captain named Kirahi. His team helped me destroy Saren's cloning facility on Vermeer.
Heard he was part of that jury-rigged explosive. Always got job done with limited resources. Good captain. Bit of a cloaca, though. Loved his speeches. Hold the line. Personally prefer to get job done and go home. Probably military bravado, jargon, chest pounding. No offense.
Hey, it was a good speech, okay? Don't want to hear anybody diss and hold the line. On that note...
Nice talking with you, Morden.
I should get back to work. Need to study. So much data. Here if you need me.
Alright, so there's Morden, and here is the lab, which, as I was saying, is something that only becomes available to you, and by extension, only available to get these upgrades once you recruit Morden. Hence why it is important to get him early. Can we actually go down this ladder? If we can. Don't think we can. Don't think so. Yet. What? What? I don't know what you're talking about. Okay, so, that's Morden. See if we have any updates from everyone else. Kelly?
Morden's psych profile warned of hyper behavior, but he is like a hamster on coffee. He's going to be a very productive member of the team. Anyway,
Certainly hope so.
how may I help you, Commander?
Let's see. I mean, how's the crew doing?
Is there anything I should know?
You have unread messages at your private terminal.
Okay.
Anything else, Commander?
Alright, we'll check those out. Anything else we can chat about?
Do you have a moment to talk?
I always have time for you, Commander.
Let's see. Have we already asked you about all these things? I think so.
I better go.
Okay.
So,
Commander,
never
you've
mind.
received a new message at your private terminal.
Okay, you did just tell us this mere moments ago. Thank you. So we can check our team status, which is, of course, different because now we have acquired Morden. So let's get a little bit more info on him before we press forward here. So he is, well, Morden. Loyalty normal. We'll talk more about what exactly loyalty means a little bit in the future. But his abilities are Incinerate, Cryoblast, and Neural Shock. You may remember me making an allusion to the heavy weapon that was referred to as the Cryoblaster as its nickname, and I said not to be confused with Cryoblast, the ability. Well, that is one of Morden's abilities here. So, Morden is the tech specialist. You may remember the upgrade that we saw in the Normandy research facility gave us the option to increase Morden's tech damage by 20%, and, well, that is basically all of his abilities that can deal damage. So, hence why that is fairly relevant for him. But as an engineer, at least as the sort of class that he falls under, he's not doing much from a weapon standpoint, other than submachine guns, heavy pistols. Those are generally sort of the lowest of the lowest barrier of entry. You know, the non-combat specialist will be generally using that combo there. Although, after having picked up the Carnifex heavy pistol from him in that mission, heavy pistol users are now having a better weapon to use there. Okay, so that's Morden. We acquired Zaid while we were on Omega previously. I think we might have looked at him briefly there. Concussive shot, disruptor ammo, and Inferno grenade. Assault rifles and sniper rifles. So he is the only person we have at the moment who is capable of using assault rifles, hence why I was saying maybe not the most relevant thing for us to be prioritizing that at this stage when everyone else is using other types of weapons here. So let's look at the team. Let's look at our upgrades here. I don't think we can actually make upgrades. We're just more so reviewing the ones that we've already purchased or completed the research for. So, that's that. We, of course, were talking about that recently. Kelly was saying we got some unread messages. Let's check our email here. Healing of your facial scars. You may have noticed that when we started Mass Effect 2, after coming back from the Lazarus Project, we did have some scars on our face. So from Chief Medical Officer Chakwas, Commander, I've done further investigation regarding your facial scarring, and the old adage of mind over matter holds true. Negative attitudes and aggressive acts create adverse reactions with your cybernetic implants, while peaceful thoughts and compassionate actions promote healing. If you maintain a positive outlook, I believe your facial scarring will heal on its own. Otherwise, there is surgical equipment that we could use to insulate your cybernetic implants and accelerate your healing regardless of your mental outlook. I've updated plans for the new medical equipment to your research terminal in the tech lab. Sincerely, Dr. Chakwas. So, that is another thing we can potentially pursue at our research terminal, and it is technically a medbay upgrade. Trying to see if we can even tell at the moment. We already had unlocked that Omni tool there. And my skewed view. Thank you for the follow. Hope you're enjoying the stream. So yeah, technically, yeah, you can sort of see it from this angle. You can see on Shepard's chin there is probably the most notable spot where you see that sort of orange little streak is a scar remaining from, and there's sort of one on his cheek as well. A scar remaining from, well, having been resurrected. So basically what Dr. Chakwas is saying is if we play a more Paragon-oriented route, and I suppose you can see the scars here as well, maybe more clearly, if we go more the Paragon route, then our scars will start to heal, whereas if we go more the Renegade route, then our scars will actually become more pronounced. And so that is sort of one way that you can see what type of playthrough someone is doing with their Mass Effect 2 playthrough, is, you know, regardless of whether you ask them or see this screen that shows Paragon versus Renegade meters, you can look at their Shepard's face, and if they have really prominent scars, I mean, either they're early on in their playthrough, or they're going Renegade, whereas if their face looks all nice and smooth and fully healed, then that would suggest that they're going with the Paragon playthrough, although Dr. Chakwas was saying that even if you do go the Renegade route, that you could purchase an upgrade at the research terminal to heal your scars nonetheless, though of course that means it would require some monies and resources to make that happen. We did also level up recently, which gave us a squad point or two, I think 2. We're probably looking to get to at least charge 3 next. It's probably the priority. So our long-term plan is I think we're going to want to get up to charge 3, ideally 4. Then, unfortunately, we do need to get Shockwave up to rank 2 in order to unlock Pull. Shockwave, for the most part, not the biggest of fans of it. I think it is, for the most part, one of our weakest skills as a Vanguard. We just have better ways to... I mean, it's crowd control ability that can deal some damage, but charge is going to be our primary source of damage long term. And for crowd control, if we can get Pull all the way up to rank 4, then that would be great, because Pull Field, you see here, affects all nearby targets, suspending entire groups in the air. Basically, fantastic for large-scale crowd control. So that is ideally something we'd like to get. Use charge as more so our direct damage source. And then cryo ammo, I think we're going to go 0 on this, because we don't really need 2 ammo sources. I mean, theoretically, you could switch over from one ammo type to another based on the situation, because certain ammos are more effective against certain types of defenses. Armor, incendiary ammo, for example, is particularly good against armor. But since we are playing on a higher difficulty where very many enemies have some source of armor, the incendiary ammo, I think, is going to be pretty high priority there. So that's also going to be one that we'd ideally get up to rank 4, because once we do, we can get squad incendiary ammo and make it so that this ammo upgrade is not just affecting us, it's affecting our entire squad. We've already done that for Jacob, though. So I think what we're going to try to do, and I may have talked about this a little bit before, is we're going to try to rely on our other teammates who have good ammo upgrades to provide that early in our playthrough, and then once we've had enough time to gain enough levels and we've gotten to a decent place from a charge standpoint and hopefully start to at least unlock a little bit of pull, then we might go up to incendiary ammo rank 4, so that way we aren't relying on our squad mates to be providing that ammo upgrade. Gives us a little more flexibility in terms of who we're bringing on missions with us. But that is probably something we're going to wait a while to do. We're basically going to see how long can we get away with leaving this unupgraded and focus on the other stuff in the meantime, because as we were saying before, charge early levels is dangerous. Of course, getting right up close to enemies that are quite powerful can get you killed pretty quickly, until you get this upgraded to the point where you're getting that shields back and actually increasing maximum shields as well. which can be huge. It can actually make charge be not a defensive liability, it can actually be one of your greatest defensive strengths. So that's where we'd like to get. So that's probably still our top priority here, except, maybe we try to push to get Shockwave unlocked, just to unlock a tiny bit of pulls. So that's an option for us, because we were relying on Jacob previously to do some of that for us. So that's the overarching plan from our build standpoint. And that means we are probably going to save those resources for now. Let's check in with Jacob here, see if he has anything new to say to us after this mission.
Commander, can I help you with something?
Let's see. So, we did just have our previous mission. Any thoughts on that?
How are we doing, Jacob? What's your sense of the mission?
If Morden's modifications hold up, we've got a shot. If they don't, we're dead. Seems like that was always a strong possibility, though. Anything else, Commander?
And, Jacob, you're probably not wrong about that. We are, as we've already seen, capable of making a lot of upgrades, and we will get a lot more. And in many cases, it will be the difference between success and failure. So it is going to become very important, certainly, by the time we're reaching endgame. But we do still have time at this point. It's still, of course, quite early. So let's see. Other than that, Normandy upgrades, as we were saying, generally speaking, we are capable of getting some form of upgrade, or at least learning about some form of upgrade from just about everyone on the ship, or at least all of our primary squad members.
Any thoughts on how to prepare against the Collectors?
They spec'd this ship to the original Normandy, but you were there. The Collectors cut her like butter. This armor just isn't top of the line anymore. People will die if we don't upgrade. Alliance had some new toys in secret dev before I left. I could try and pull a few favors.
Okay, so that should mean we have a new ship enhancements here. Heavy ship armor requires a lot more palladium. Again, the resource that I do not technically know how to pronounce. Normandy armor upgrade. The Asari-made Solaris armor upgrade is attached to the ship's superstructure. This will help the ship hold together if hit by a blast powerful enough to penetrate its shields. So, you heard Jacob there, and he made a very good point. We faced the Collectors previously. They basically just cut a hole right through the Normandy with their firepower, and if we don't make upgrades to the ship, then we might find ourselves facing a similar fate. So this is definitely something we want to make a point of doing. Maybe not super pressing short term, but we definitely want to make sure that we get the chance to upgrade this before we are done.
Let me know when you want that, Commander.
So that's big. Let's see. Anything else? Opinion of the crew? We did, of course, just pick up a new squad mate. Does he have any thoughts on Morden?
What do you think of the state of the crew?
We don't have a full complement. We don't stand a chance without the right specialists on side. Anything else, Commander?
Also not wrong. It is still early days when it comes to building our team as well. So that does make sense. So it seems like, we could try just chatting about Jacob personally. See if he has anything else to say in that regard.
I'm more interested in just talking for a bit.
Sounds good. Have to say you run this ship tight, and we're getting things done. We keep on track, and maybe we'll figure this out. I hope so. I'm not looking forward to the debrief if it all goes to hell. Is there something specific, or are you just checking in?
Jacob, you can chill a little bit. I know we're your commanding officer and everything, but don't need to be so formal.
I like to know my crew. Forget procedure. Tell me about yourself.
Informal, huh? Everything's in my file. Ex-Alliance like you, no Reapers or anything, but I got swept under the rug too. The more good you do, the less they want to admit that something needed doing.
Okay, let's see. Can we talk more about, joining Cerberus? Okay.
What led you to Cerberus?
The Alliance sidelined me after Eden Prime. Ended up on a job with Miranda that Cerberus treated like an audition. And here I am.
Okay. So it sounds like, you and Miranda got teamed up fairly early. We've talked about this a bit with other people, but Cerberus doesn't exactly have the best reputation when it comes to their methods. So you don't mind the fact that they are, technically a criminal organization?
You don't seem like a results at all costs kind of guy. Cerberus history doesn't bother you?
The Alliance is all politics. Somebody has to take down the bad people. Cerberus keeps that line, I'm on their side.
Right, but, in some cases, Cerberus may be the bad people, is kind of what I'm getting at, so, just gotta be careful, is all I'm saying. What about career highlights? What was the shining moments in your budding career?
What was your proudest career moment?
Covered this, didn't we? It was after getting sidelined. A Batarian group was plotting to release a weaponized virus and kill the Council. Miranda and I stopped it.
And why wasn't that reported? Why did it fly under the radar?
Strange that it wasn't bigger news.
The
Does
real
sound like a
word
big deal.
doesn't get publicized, you know that. They say it's better that people don't know how fragile the system is or how close the bad guys can get. So, it never happened. Like you and the Reaper. And that's why I'm here.
Okay. That looks like everything we can ask him about that, but I suppose he's kind of implying that was long ago that happened, but he certainly still looks like he's been keeping himself in good shape.
You look like you came through no worse for wear.
If nothing else, the Alliance trains their people well. Once you live that life, you can't sit around getting fat. You know how it goes. Although I bet Cerberus puts you back together better than ever. Get any upgrades?
None needed. No, we were perfectly fine as is. No, I think we actually heard the elusive man, or maybe it was Miranda, saying that the objective was to make us... I think this was the elusive man saying, the objective was to make us as close to the original as possible. No deviations allowed, so, unfortunately, no secret hidden rocket boosters in our butt, or, like secret Wolverine blades that we can have shoot out of our hands to stab people in the back or anything like that. No, I'm afraid not.
I'm glad enough they restored me to stock. Couldn't hurt to keep some spare parts handy, though.
I hear that. Your job isn't getting any safer. I used to wonder what the big deal with you was. But now that we're in deep, I'm glad it's not me in the spotlight.
There's no hiding, Jacob. Not for any of us.
Don't worry. This is exactly what I signed on for. If that's all,
right,
Commander, I'll get back to my duties. There's a lot to get ready.
Alright. Got a few Paragon points from that conversation as well. Alright, so that's Jacob. Let's maybe check on in with... who else? Miranda, probably. And, of course, we did also...
No messages for you, Commander.
Thank you, Kelly. We did check them 5 minutes ago, so I'm glad to hear that nobody has messaged us in the meantime. So Miranda's over here, and we may not have noted this before, but especially as our team starts to get bigger, it is kind of helpful to see on each floor of the ship, it will tell us which team members are hanging out here. So this is the floor we're just on, Jacob and Morton, of course. Then we have, and these are specifically crew members that can actually tag along with us on missions. So like, for example, Joker is on this floor as well, but you don't see him listed here because he's not actually going out into the field with us. Miranda is down here. Let's take a moment to chat with her. And then Zaid is down in engineering, and we've not had the chance to talk to him really at all yet, so definitely looking forward to getting the chance to check in with him. So let's see. Miranda. On the other side, this is Dr. Chakwas, who I don't think is really going to have anything new to say to us. Don't think.
How may I help you, Commander?
I think we're good here.
I'll see you later, Doctor.
We will see you
Commander.
later. Thanks for the wonderful conversation. Over here. On this side is where we shall find Miranda. In her office.
Commander, what can I do for you?
Let's see. So, we can get several kinds of updates from you, it seems. How's the Normandy looking?
Anything I should know regarding the Normandy?
The crew's working well, and the ship appears to be performing to specifications.
Okay. We may have asked her about that before, but it does seem as though you may have further Normandy upgrades for us.
Have you got any ideas for potential upgrades we could make?
A few ideas, yeah. Here, take a look.
Okay. So, ship enhancements, again, is where this should fall under. And we have Advanced Mineral Scanner is now new. Requires more Iridium to actually get this completed, though. What it does is, it's the Normandy Mineral Scanner upgrade. The Android... It's just misspelled Android, or is that actually supposed to be a Y there? Android Group's proprietary Argus planet scan technology has been integrated into the ship's systems. This will greatly speed up the planet scanning process. So we haven't really done much of this at all yet, just opened up a planet scanning option once and didn't actually do any scanning, just sort of gave you a preview of it. But basically, different from Mass Effect 1, in which you were just looking at a planet, and sometimes you had the option to scan it. If you did, you pressed a button and you automatically scanned it, and you got some predetermined piece of loot or sub-component towards a quest completed. Whereas in Mass Effect 2, when it comes to scanning, you actually have the option to look around and rotate around a planet and pick a specific point in which you can launch a probe, and depending on where you launch the probe, you will get a combination of different resources. Things like iridium and palladium and platinum and all this stuff that we've been talking about that we need for upgrades, and one of the reasons why we don't have a lot of that yet is because we haven't done any of that scanning yet. So this basically just means that we can more quickly move around our cursor when we're trying to do that scanning, which is basically just a quality of life thing. So, I mean, not really you don't need it ever, but it's a nice to have, not a need to have type of thing. So definitely the kind of thing that I would say is probably not a super high priority for us. You know, for the most part, we're probably just gonna deal with it. And if we happen to have extra iridium lying around at some point, then sure, maybe we'll throw it into this upgrade. But you know, I think we could probably handle it as is for now. But that is now an option.
Whenever you have the time and resources, let me know.
Then I think we've already asked Miranda about what she does. I have to imagine we've already asked her about what she does here, right?
What exactly are your duties, aside from keeping an eye on me?
I'm the elusive man's agent. You're his most important asset. My job is to make sure you succeed.
Yeah, that does sound familiar.
Aside from that, I send regular reports to the elusive man, updating our status.
Okay, let's see if we can talk more personally.
You have a minute, Miranda?
Of course. I'm just finishing an operation report. I'm impressed, Shepard. So far, things have gone exceptionally well.
We've only done a
As
little bit.
Cerberus operations go, this is one of the best I've been a part of.
I mean, we've recruited, I guess technically we've recruited more than one person, because we did also recruit Zaid, even if it was basically instantaneous, along with obviously Morden. But just feels like, you know, it's maybe a little preemptive to be dishing out all this praise. I'm not sure we really deserve it yet. Excuse me, this is my operation, not your operation. How dare you try to take credit for it? No, see, the thing is, like, you know, we're not part of your criminal organization. We just happen to be associated with you. But it's not really a willing decision that we made. It was kind of just a requirement.
Maybe that's because this isn't a Cerberus operation.
Not to you, maybe. But I report directly to the elusive man. And I'm here because he wants me to be. Cerberus gave you a second chance, Commander. Maybe you should do the same for us.
I mean, I see your logic. I do. But at the same time, like, you did some pretty bad stuff in Mass Effect 1. In fact, several pretty bad things in Mass Effect 1. Basically, almost any research experiment that went awry and led to all the researchers getting killed or brainwashed or things like that, pretty much always was Cerberus who was behind it for all those side quests. So, you know, kind of thing where you could make the case that we have already given you a second, third, and possibly even fourth chance, and you kind of failed on all those. So, you know, are we willing to give you a fourth or fifth chance? I don't know. Fool us once, shame on us. Fool us a bazillion times, and, you know, we're just not going to let that happen.
What did Cerberus do that made you so loyal?
I suppose you deserve to know.
Oh?
Do you remember when I told you how I was genetically altered? Well, that wasn't my choice. My father created me.
What?
He's a very influential man and extremely controlling. He didn't want a daughter. He wanted a dynasty. I ran away as soon as I was old and brave enough. I went to Cerberus because I knew they could protect me.
Okay, lots of questions. Cerberus, first people you went to for protection. Yeah, you know, that's, you know, maybe not the safest, healthiest of environments for a young and vulnerable person abandoning their family to just go rushing into. Feels like the kind of group that could easily take advantage of you. Again, seeing as how they have criminal operations that they're doing.
You seem capable of defending yourself. Why did you need Cerberus?
My father invested a great deal in his dynasty. It wasn't a matter of just leaving. I knew he would continue to pursue his investments.
Yeah, she's referring to herself as his dynasty and his investments, which is it's kind of a weird way to refer to yourself. It is rather odd.
I assume that Cerberus approved of your enhanced abilities?
Of course, Cerberus fully endorses anything that advances the cause of humanity, genetic alterations included. But unlike my father and his own selfish reasons, Cerberus and the elusive man believe in a greater good. They see the bigger picture.
Do they, though?
And I feel like I have a purpose here.
Do they, though? Because, you know, you might be better than that.
You talk about yourself like you're just a tool to be used. By your father? By Cerberus?
Maybe. I like to know where I fit in the world. It helps me find meaning in how I was created.
You are who you are, Miranda. You don't need to make excuses for it.
That's easy for you to say. We've both been engineered for greatness, Shepard. The difference is you were great before we rebuilt you. I'm great because of it.
Yeah, but, like, you don't know that. Like, sure, you may be really good at your job, and you may be genetically engineered. There may be a correlation there. There's not necessarily causation. Granted, there's no way to prove or disprove that statement, but, yeah, you know, it's not what defines you.
Your spirit and personality are what make you great. It's what makes anyone great.
That's kind of you. I'm not sure I believe you, but thanks for saying it.
Oh. Okay, and, ooh, can we push a little bit further here and ask about her father and her mother? Father does seem like they had a bit of a spotty relationship here. What with her being his investment in his dynasty.
Who exactly is your father?
A businessman, but a very wealthy one. It's ironic. My father believed deeply in a human-positive agenda. He donated generously to Cerberus before I joined them.
Oh.
That's how I first heard about Cerberus, through my father's connections.
Okay, self-esteem. That's a weird way to preview this option here. What about it? What about it? Because, you know, that's it's not usually the type of thing that you just casually throw out there like, so about this whole self-esteem thing, do you have it?
You talk about yourself like you're just a tool to
Oh,
be
is that
used.
what the preview was for
By
this
your
before?
father? By Cerberus?
So we did hear this, did we not?
Maybe. I like to know where I fit in the
Yeah.
world.
Was that what it
helps
said
me find
before when
meaning in
we
how
were
I
doing
was
this option?
created.
You
I
are
did
who
not
you
remember
are,
that.
Miranda. You don't need to make excuses for it.
That's easy
Just,
for you to say.
Really try to
We've
hammer
both
this
been
point
engineered
home.
For greatness, Shepard. The
Maybe
difference
she'll
is
believe us
you
the
were
second
great
time around.
before we rebuilt you. I'm great because of it.
Okay, but then other than that, we can also ask about her mother, which she has not mentioned at all thus far, I don't think.
You've told me a lot about your father.
Yeah.
What happened to your mother?
I never had one. Most of my genetic material is based on my father's tissue.
Yeah, that is
His
weird.
Y chromosome was altered with an amalgam of desired traits from various sources. How arrogant can you be? The man is completely egomaniacal. Just another reason I had to get away from him.
I mean, look. Technically, you talked about the Y chromosome, which is obviously coming from your father, but you never addressed the X chromosome, which is actually what would be coming from your mother, except we asked you about your mother, and you said that you didn't have a mother, but it still did not address where this X chromosome is coming from in that case, so if you could please actually answer the question, that would be very much appreciated. Thank you. But that does appear to be all we can talk about with you. So, on that pleasant note, I should go.
Thanks for your time, Miranda. I'll talk to you later.
Anytime, Commander.
Alright, we get a few Paragon points for that as well. So that's the latest from Miranda. Now if we check out downstairs in engineering, we should have, I think, a couple of things we can do here if we could actually access this thing. Because Zaid is down here, like I was saying before. So, let's see. Now that we do have Zaid, there is now a room that was previously inaccessible to us that we can now go into. It is, hold on, what is the name of this one? I mean, I'm pretty sure it's just that, like, location, or like, you know, right side versus left side. It actually, see, port opens, oh, well, starboard cargo, up there, that, versus port, is the other side. So, okay, well, here is Zaid, and he does have a bit of a setup here. Now, does Edie have a description for this room? She may not, to tell you the truth. Let's see. Got surveillance, blood pack helmet, anything from in here? Garbage compactor? Ship model? Rifle? It doesn't seem like any overviews from Edie, so let's just chat with Zaid, maybe? Or, no, let's investigate the room a little bit first, in case there's anything we can chat with him about. Like, the surveillance? Oh, look at this. We can spy on what people are doing. Oh, anyone hanging out by the court? No. Always empty. Crew quarters. Oh no, that's right outside the galaxy map. Excuse me, please step away. So that's that. Then we have the Bloodpack helmet.
Beauty, isn't it? Pried that off the Krogan warlord, Kazak. Used to run the Bloodpack out of Omega about 17 years ago. Wasn't even a job. The guy just thought he'd hijack a freighter I was hitchhiking on. Big mistake. I goaded Kazak into one-on-one combat. Took out his legs, grabbed his gun, and killed every Bloodpack bastard in the room. That was the most beaten Krogan I've ever seen. Kept the helmet to remind me of that pained expression.
Oh! Okay. On a much lighter note, here's the trash. We compact it. Oh, hold on. Eject it out the airlock? Absolutely. Don't mind if I do. Thank you very much. And away it goes. Bye-bye. You know, that will continue moving out there for all eternity, right? Because there's no resistance in space to stop it. So, sorry for whoever's ship happens to come across that and, you know, causes a hull breach and they have a catastrophic engine failure and a whole bunch of other terrible things that, you know, we just have to dump out the trash. No big deal, really.
Hey, don't touch. That rifle's older than you are. I call it Jesse. That's my lucky charm. More men have been killed with that gun than died in the Skillian Blitz.
Oh.
The day I laid her to rest was the saddest day of my life. I give up every weapon I own for one more mission with that shitty old rifle.
It's not even good and he's still using it. But, apparently racked up quite the kill count with it.
Oh yeah, that's a model of the Veracon. Turian frigate. Hell of a ship. I led a mission to bring that thing down from the inside with just 5 men and whatever guns we could bring. No chance of success, but we did it. Everyone died but me. So I made out like a bandit. My first impossible mission as an independent contractor. There's been many since, but nothing so goddamn sweet as watching that Turian warship crash planet-side.
Yeah, it does seem like he's racked up quite the resume. Remember that he is a mercenary, bounty hunter of sorts, who the Elusive Man has hired to join us here. So does certainly have quite a bit of experience with all this stuff, it seems.
Thinking about past missions. Got a minute? You might learn something.
Yeah, well, we have asked him a bit about his keepsakes around here. Anything else?
I was trying to remember how many Cerberus operatives I've killed. Lost track around 50.
Yeah.
Guess your elusive man's big on forgiveness.
Ooh. I mean, yeah, those are in many ways just the Elusive Man's employees that you brutally murdered. So, yeah, you know, that is perhaps a little bit surprising that he would be willing to hire you in that case. You know, one would think that perhaps you would be strictly in the no-fly zone.
Get a knife stuck in the right way, and you can pull that plate right off a Krogan's head. It's the best way to get a Krogan to talk. The threat of it drives him mad.
I'm talking about the sort of like the Krogan have what appears to be, I don't know, more like a softer skin-like complexion on the lower, I don't know, 3/4 of their face, but then at the top, where, you know, other species' hair might be, they have what looks more like almost an exoskeleton. So I'm guessing that's what you're referring to, that plate. Don't technically know what the proper terminology for is. Maybe it is plate, maybe it's not. Not necessarily sure we can trust Zaid to be our scientifically accurate source for that.
I should let you go. Talk more later, Shepard.
Alright, so not too much to talk about with Zaid other than just reminiscing about some of his previous missions in which he murdered countless people from several different organizations. Remember, however, that we did pick up some equipment that the engineers were looking for.
Forward tanks are buoyant and elevated.
Are you talking about the Normandy or Miranda?
I'm talking about the one that's covered and protected, not bouncing in the breeze.
Oh!
Operative Lawson's uniform is very official. It always makes me stand at attention.
You're such a dog.
Well, we do have the gear we picked up, remember, at the shop on Omega that these guys were asking
Commander. We just got those FBA couplings installed.
Exactly.
Now we only have to calibrate every week instead of every day. We're thinking about celebrating our newfound free time with some Skillian 5 poker. Want to join us?
Come on, Kenneth. The commander doesn't want to play cards with grease monkeys like us.
Ah, sure, we'll play.
Actually, that sounds interesting.
Fantastic. I'll get the cards.
Yeah, but we maybe just new at this thing, so just go easy on us is all.
My Skillian 5's a bit rusty. You'll be easy on the rookie, right?
Of course, Commander. It's all friendly.
Yeah, right.
We've won 500 credits playing Skillian 5. Alrighty then.
Be gentle on the rookie. I can't believe we fell for that.
So worth losing to see you taken down a notch.
Beat
Hey.
me at my own game. You're all right, Shepard.
Okay then. Don't mind if we do. Still not sure that 500 credits is going to make that much of a difference for us, but it's something. It is something. I think that's everything for us down here at the moment, except for, did we ever see this little terminal with Edie? Not sure that we did.
What's this area of the ship?
This is main engineering, which contains the ship's main fusion plant and Mass Effect core.
Yeah, so it is the core, as we were saying, as we were theorizing before. Okay. In that case, I believe that maybe everything we have, possibly across the board in terms of check-in with our various squad mates and other crewmates and what have you, other than perhaps Joker, though I'm not necessarily sure we're going to have anything new with him. But I suppose we can double-check just to verify. But I am not thinking that we will. Whoa. Looks like we're going fast.
Commander,
How are things going?
I assume everything is going well up here?
we're just having an argument over personalization of my workspace.
Cerberus regulations are clear, Mr. Moreau. Personalization does not include grease on my bridge cameras.
It's just mad that all its footage of me looks like a dream sequence.
Okay. Let's see. We can also ask you about the recent missions and squad mates, which I know we've definitely asked you about the good old days, but let's see what Joker has to say about what we've been doing recently.
So, how do you think we're doing?
Well, the Normandy's not as ready as she could be. There's always more we could upgrade. And as for the crew, you'd have to ask a people person.
Yeah, and I think we did ask him after our previous mission, and he had said the same thing.
What do you think about the people we're picking up?
Well, about the ones you went out with last, I would never say anything against Miranda and expect to survive the reprisal. Jacob is way too nice a guy for the number of ways he knows how to kill people. It's just my opinion, though. There's really no need to go spreading it around.
And I think
That's it for now.
we may
See,
get
Commander.
a description from Joker based on whoever we went on the previous mission with. So obviously in that case, Miranda and Jacob, which I think was the group we went with in our mission before that as well, because of course they were the first crewmates that we got. So that may be something that will change around a little bit as we start to experiment with
No
other
messages
squad
from the
mates.
Commander.
Thank you, Kelly.